Okay, we're coming back with another episode of combining two technical indicators together to make a trading strategy, just to test them out before we start getting more complex with our rules. We've already done every single moving average convergence divergence combination. We have already done one relative strength index combination, and today we're doing the other relative strength index Bollinger Bands. So let's get started with RSI dot or underscore BB dot IPY and B. Excellent. We split the page to copy in the same code as always. Let's go to MacDMFI to get our data acquisition function. Put that here. Take our packages. Put that here. I'm going to also add our relative strength index function and strategy. So we have our strategy function and relative strength index function, which you can copy in from the code pasted for free on the Sharp Education website. They're for all to use. And I'm going to run this just to get the kernel initialized. We can put this back in our regular place. And while that's loading, I'm going to also go to our Bollinger Bands code and take in our add Bollinger Bands and add strategy. Paste that in. We need to also add the Bollinger Bands length and standard deviations we are interested in here, and we can get rid of the MFI global variables because we don't need them anymore. So everything should look good. Let's make our strategy here. We're going to do BB strategy, BB strategy, and Bollinger Band strategy is going to be Bollinger Band strategy. That's shift 1. Awesome. So we have RSI strategy, Bollinger Bands strategy, add BB strategy. I'm just going to change Bollinger Bands to BB here. So when we write the main function, which is going to look super similar to our relative strength index money flow index function, so similar in fact that I'm going to paste it in and just make some tweaks to it. We might be setting a record for our fastest code episode yet. So add BB instead of add MFI, add BB strategy, and then we need to add the full strategy and test it. We have these functions already defined in our previous code as well. We can just paste those in. And I know this might not be a super informative episode so far because I've literally just pasted in everything so far. We have pasted in our relative strength index, our Bollinger Bands, our strategy definition, our way of combining them together. We just need to change the name of this one column here to BB strategy because that is what we have defined it as here. And then when we run everything, wait a minute. Oh, I didn't change his name here. I need to change this. This is RFI ticker. To get rid of this information here. We have no need for MACD. No need for the MACD global variables in either one of these. So I'm going to get rid of them because they're not part of it. And it's going to be ticker cumulative, and then we can just do Bollinger Bands MFI cumulative. RSI, and then we can do RSI Lin and Bollinger Bands BB Lin. So when we modify this, if we ever want to, we can change the title dynamically. Confluential cumulative returns. If I run this, I'm expecting an error a little bit, but it might work. Right, so it's the same issue with ODD. Let's get rid of this. Let's do SPY 1D. I only know this error because I made the same exact one yesterday, so here we go. It looks like I need to add plot figure definitely, and we take 0 trades here. Interesting. Doesn't quite look right. So I'm going to reduce this to 100. I'll reduce it to 300 actually. I'm going to add plot.figure into our Bollinger Bands function, plt.figure, to give us a second plot here instead of putting them both in the same one. Should look better. So it makes a little bit of sense because I have Bollinger Bands deviations set to be 2. However, I'm seeing here where we are definitely below that second standard deviation, but no trade was placed. So maybe I flipped the strategy a little bit incorrect. If close is greater than upper band, we go long. If it's less than the lower band, we go short. That's correct. If I reduce the deviations to 1, does that change anything? Still no. So something's definitely wrong here. Let me see. We're going to do some debugging live. So data frame, full strategy, dot value counts. So there's never any -2 or 2. This is wrong because we should be taking the sum of RSI strategy and Bollinger Band strategy. RSI seems to be -1, while Bollinger Band seems to be 1 here. That is wrong. So RSI at the very end is -1. That's right. Bollinger Bands says 1. So that's wrong. This should be -1. We should be going short when we see this. So I need to change our code. So if data frame close is greater than the upper band, go 1. If close is less than the lower band, should be 1 and -1. I flipped the strategy around. In our other example, I did a demonstration of flipping the strategy around. So it doesn't work when I run this together. There will never be an instance where we're above the highest Bollinger Bands and below the oversold levels in relative strength index. They're pretty much direct opposites of each other. And that's not super bad. The first test where we actually have, long positions and short positions, we have -2, 48 days of the 300-day test, and we have +2, 13 days. Looks pretty good. So let's test a little bit further out This is with 1 standard deviation. If we set this back to 2, which is default, we're probably not going to take many trades here. We only took 1 or 2. But look, that's awesome. It worked out really well for us. So I am going to test a little bit longer here. I really like seeing that to start off with. Have we found a winning strategy? Let's do 1,000 days. Run it. Okay. It's pretty much flat. Super uncommon to encounter those trading instances. So we got lucky with the high volatility when he announced tariffs and then unannounced them. What a weirdo. We're going to go to... We're going to reduce this back to 1. We can change it to 1.5. We can do anything we want because now we know how to code here. Hey, pretty good. Honestly, exciting stuff. This is going up. So let's test a little bit more than 1,000. Let's test 5,000 days of backtesting. I'm just curious at this point. Continues to go up. This might be a pretty good strategy to follow, actually. Of course, just buying and holding is going to win, but this generally seems to have a pretty good upwards trend. I might have just given you guys a good strategy or a good foundational strategy for identifying buying and selling opportunities. So if you followed along for this series, congratulations. I appreciate your patience. We finally found one that seems to work okay. At least okay. Like if we leverage this, all right, what happens when instead of just taking 1 or -1, we go 3 or -3? What happens if we just triple leveraged all of our trades? Would we keep up, or would those losses just eat us alive? Yeah. So if we 3x'd all of our trades here with some extra leverage, it looks like we might have found a pretty good strategy to follow. Awesome. So that is a heinous oversimplification, but we're getting there. You guys have finally learned how to combine, using trial and error, a bunch of different indicators together. And this might finally be the first one where we see some favorable results that actually go up if you, of course, are willing to handle that leverage and follow this strictly. So super cool. Let's move this back to -1 and 1 so I know for future episodes where we should look. So this will be the first strategy that I look at when we're starting to dive deeper into how we can adjust these effectively. Thank you guys for sticking around for this episode, and I look forward to seeing you in the next ones. So until then, stay sharp.